folks, Bree here for some real talk with coffee. And actually today I'm going to start with a confession. So as of recording this, I have been a partner in a podcast called Mama Now Conversations. It's been a super fun project with Lily McKnight, and we have these conversations about motherhood and parenting. But the confession part here is that I think our last episode was published sometime in July, which from when I'm recording this is like 4 months ago. And we were trying to publish, and we were doing pretty good publishing every 2 weeks. And here's what happened. We had made a commitment to do this, but here's the but. I was in charge of the editing, and it's not complicated. It's not hard to do. I mean, I'm not the best at it, but it's good enough. And my confession is this, that I had to shift that commitment. I had made a commitment to my co-host and frankly to our listeners to say, we're going to get this podcast out. And that means Marie has to do the editing. And then other parts of my life became more important to me than the editing. And I had to drop the ball somewhere in my life to make space for the things that mattered most to me, including my work as a teacher, including some of my children's emotional needs, including my own physical health and mental health. And the thing that got dropped was editing the podcast. So I have hopes that even by the time you're watching this, the podcast will have restarted, and I think we're going to figure this out. But what I want to share some real talk today is that I want to be the kind of person that honors all of my commitments. I'm guessing you do too. But I think we need to have space when we're talking about creating balance and being kind to ourselves and kind to others. We need to have space to shift our commitments. We need to have space to acknowledge when we're breaking our commitments and then resolving that. We need to have space to recognize when commitments we made 6 months ago or a year ago, that we can no longer follow through on them, not because of any ill will or bad intention, but because our essential values have shifted and the needs of our life have shifted, as they do as people and especially as parents. So I just want to give you some thought today, real talk with coffee. You probably have made some commitments where following through on those commitments, you might be able to do it easily, you might be able to do it, but it'll be hard, or you might not be able to do it at all. And I want to give you the gift of saying that I think it has to be okay for us as human beings, flawed human beings, to break commitments we've made with the understanding of why we're doing it and how we do it. And so for me, it was about having an honest conversation with my co-host, and we're figuring out how to communicate this with listeners and figure out what our next steps are. And I'm, again, hoping that by the time you watch this, Mama Now Conversations will be back in production. But, you know, we have a lot of podcasts ready to go that just haven't been edited, and that's a commitment I can no longer make. And communicating that was hard in the sense that it kind of hurts my sense of self. But on the other hand, I think it's real talk. Like, some of the things we commit to in the future don't make sense to us when we get there. And we need to give ourselves grace and each other grace when we have to break those commitments, especially when we can acknowledge it and be honest about it. So just some thoughts today about commitments. I hope you take some time today to think about commitments you've made that maybe you don't have the ability or capacity to honor anymore. And what does it look like to acknowledge that and remedy that as best you can? It's not perfect, it's not pretty, but it is real talk. As always, check out CreateBalanceLife.com for the Create Balance Month Planner. It takes you through the Create Balance process for a month. You can download it for free. You can also get on my email list, which is really where most of my articles are getting published these days, on my email subscription. So that's about it. Thanks so much for Real Talk with Coffee.